Give me 1 second, just looking at a couple things here. All right, so anybody has any questions, let me know. Oh, no worries. We got some folks that are joining us from Calgary. Everybody say hi to the folks from Calgary. You know, let them know you're from Calgary. You know, you should have your name, first name, and where you're from, just to let people know. This helps us build our network in the local areas with other students. Very important, right? Very important to do that. Helps us build our business faster. Okay. Okay, give me 1 second. Just checking on properties here. Okay. Looking to see what else I can do. I can gain. All right, give me 1 second. Just going to forward another property to look over today. Like I said, if you have a property you want looked at, please send it to me right away at the beginning of the call. I'll do my best to get them on. Try to be thorough on the properties that we do analyze. And obviously, if there's an opportunity to share it with another team member, one of the group, that's always a wonderful thing to see us sharing the wealth and partnering up with the deal. Okay, so if we're ready to go, anybody have any questions? Otherwise, I'm going to jump into deals. This is your chance. No questions? We're good. All right, let's jump into deals. Okay, so let me bring up a deal. See if he's on the call here. Well, it'll be recorded. How's that? Let's do that. Okay, so here we go. Give me 1 second to bring that up. While I'm doing that, obviously, please, if you got something you want to share or something you want to, oh, I remember this. Oh, you know what? I don't think he is on the call, so let's jump that call because he's still new. We're going to look at one Dave just sent me, just because it's there. And we can jump right in. Give me 1 second, just going to download it. Hey, Sam, I just got a question about insurance. What are your thoughts about not getting replacement value or replacement cost? Not getting? You're talking about not getting insurance? Is that what you're saying, Jared? Or are you saying versus replacement value versus replacement cost? Is that what you're asking? The different, like, which one? Okay, so I would go for replacement value. Or my apologies, replacement cost is what I want to know. How much it's going to cost me to replace it. I want to replace. So get the larger actual insurance is what I would shoot for. Sorry, I'm between two screens. I'm trying to get up. So I would pay more for the bigger payout in the event of a disaster, right? I'd rather have that than the risk of being short on one of them and not getting what I needed. Just looking over the sheet here. Does that make sense? Go for the bigger insurance. That's what I would tell you. For real. Insurance is something. I think it's just the price of doing business. I just wouldn't want to, save a few bucks here and cut my insurance lower, or that's what you want to. You don't want to worry about. I think that the more insurance you can get on your properties is better. I think that it's better to have that security when you're doing business, and obviously the insurance shouldn't have a massive impact on our numbers. Typically they're not. If obviously it's creating a negative cash flow, which would be odd, but I guess possible, then I would say pass on the deal if I couldn't make it work. So a lot of the MLS listings are not replacement costs, so go back and be careful that you find a quote from the broker on replacement cost. Yeah, I would agree. That's a good point. Always want to make sure that you're getting the right insurance, or what at least the insurance that you think you're getting. So no worries, no worries. Yeah, yeah. So your replacement cost would be typically the cost to replace it versus the value of it. I would say replacement cost. That's what you're going to pay a premium for that. Guaranteed replacement cost. Yeah, you want replacement cost. Yeah, yeah. So you know, I think insurance again is one thing that you absolutely want to have. I wouldn't take the risk, of trying to save a few bucks by trying to get a smaller policy or less valuable policy, I guess, to save a few bucks. I don't see the upside. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go to here. Let's share my screen. I also found that most lenders only accept retail. Yeah, of course. I mean, that totally makes sense, right? I mean, they don't want to. They don't want to take that risk either, right? Um, you know, I don't know of a lender that would give you money for a property without insurance, right? You need to insure it. Obviously, that risk. I guess it's possible. You got to remember some properties are distressed, and you're not going to be able to get insurance on super distressed property. That's why they're often cash deals, brought up to code, and then refinanced. It's sort of a process that you'll see more often. But you do want insurance, and you do want the loan, the leverage for your property. So I think that um, the lender needs to be protected too. You want to protect your lenders, right? You don't want your lenders to not feel safe in doing business with you. You want the repeat business. You want to be able to continue to expand your business through their source. Again, share the wealth, right? Keep the risk low. Pay a little extra for to make sure that you're covered, and keep growing your business, right? That's what you want to do, I think. I had replacement insurance on my car for the first 3 years. 2 days before it expired, some dude ran into my car and it was written off. Went down and bought a brand new 2016 to replace my 2013 Caravan, and no extra money out of my pocket. The optional insurance more than paid for itself. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean that's a situation where it does. Obviously, we don't want tragedy to happen. Charles got hit the lottery because it was 2 days before expiration. You were saying, right? I'm sure you would have got more insurance, but typically, you don't want to. You're not buying the insurance to for the lottery ticket, portion of it. You want to make sure that you're just covered. It's just for peace of mind. I mean, I think it's a realistic assumption that we don't know the future. We don't know the future, so it's possible that things could not go our way, and we want to be protected. Okay, so let's look at this deal. The dude was your friend, Charles. Yeah. All right. This is a property. Just want to make sure. Dave, you didn't put the address anywhere. Do I have to take it off somewhere? No address. Good. Okay. All right. So we have this is a lease option evaluation sheet. Some of you have never seen this before. We'll go through it, and basically you're breaking down the numbers, all the metrics that you would need to evaluate a property properly. You wanna do this to ensure that what you believe you have, and that you're putting yourself in a position where you can actually profit. So here we go. We got a property here. It says the term is 2 years. So the first thing that jumps out at us is it's a 2-year term, and so the anticipation is that the individual will be able to get a mortgage. I assume that's been vetted. I'm just guessing at this point. This has been vetted by a mortgage broker. Is that right, Dave? The 2-year setup. You already went through that process, right? Just so you know, that's a negative. Okay. So did you do the vetting, Dave, yourself? That they could qualify in 2 years? That you went through that process with them? Just trying to get a beat on why we use 2 years. That's all. Dave's done a good chunk of real estate. He's been doing real estate a little while, and really had a good year so far. Last year, has done some lease options, rent to owns, has a business and pretty successful. Really pushing towards building other streams of income, so he can release himself of that obligation whenever he decides to, and this is something that he's more comfortable and familiar with because he's gone through the process. So he wanted to do a VTB buyout after 2 years. The builder approached me to do the deal. Okay, so all right. So we definitely want, and I mean, it depends on where you are. This is pretty preliminary, right, Dave? You just sent it to me. Obviously we're going to go through the process of vetting the deal, vetting the tenant buyer with a mortgage broker to ensure that there is a plan for success. That the term on this, let's just assume, well, at this point it's 2 years. We'd vet it. Okay, we'd go through the process because they do want to get a mortgage, obviously, at that time to be able to do it. Now, this individual, Dave, they're self-employed. Is that the deal? They just need time to fix up their, yeah, okay. So this individual is self-employed. They have the money, they have the capital. It's just tied up in the business. Having challenges getting a mortgage just because they're self-employed. They don't show any real income, and he wants to put the home under his company. Interesting. Okay. All right. So total profit, $65,031. Total return on investment, 85%. That's pretty amazing. Total option consideration is $80,000. Total option consideration is 11% of the property. So the total option consideration, I'm assuming that he decided he wanted to give you that money. Did you ask for that, Dave, or he just offered it? When we're talking about the option consideration, that's the deposit they're going to give us before we get started. He offered to put up 80 up front. Okay, that's awesome. And our rule typically is 3% as a minimum. You will find, though, people will be willing to give you more. It's not a stretch for these individuals. I'm glad you showed me this, actually, Dave. This is great for people to see, especially if you're new, that you're not always going to see somebody just go for the minimum. This is somebody who's content and putting up the capital that he has because Dave's putting this deal together and this opportunity to allow this person to get this property. And for them, they're not losing the money. It's not really a risk for them because there's no intention. And as long as they fulfill their commitment of purchasing the property, there's no risk to them. The $80,000 is up front, which obviously can help Dave, the investor, finance the property with that. They could do anything they want with the money as long as there's enough return in the property when the deal is done. So 11%. Looks like there will be on this one. 11% is the option consideration. Good. So the property type, single-family home. Okay, tenant buyer. Fair market value of the home. So we see here the fair market value is $730. Really? And you got purchase price of $580. Is that right, Dave? That's amazing. That's $1.50 there. 150. Yeah, that's a great deal. Wow. Wow. So yeah, where's the property? Which city? I think this is in Alberta. Dave, if you want to share the city, it's totally up to you. Dave, you got this under contract? Is that right? You already have it under contract, right? Not yet. Okay, let's do that ASAP. So right now, just for the sake, let's just say it's in Alberta, folks. Let Dave get this under contract, and he can get more into the details. Okay. So, but your the purchase price, that's something, but it's a bit tricky. Okay. Do you want to share that, or you want to not at this point? The trickiness. Is this his property? Is a bit tricky. The tenant buyer is a bit tricky. It's not his property, is it? I'm in the middle. Okay. All right. We'll leave it there for now. But these numbers obviously have been. You can get these numbers, right? The 580 is something that can happen, right? This is just about you pulling the trigger, and these details. You need to deal with them, right? All of them that can be addressed. Not, you don't need any. Yep, 580 GST. Okay. First mortgage is 464. Down payment is 116. Legal fees $2,000. Less initial option consideration is 80 grand. So we're going to use that. So initial investment is 38,000 because we're going to use the 80 grand as part of the financing of the property. So 80,000, okay? So then we have the sale transfer price, 700,000. We have the mortgage at 3.65, two-year amortization of 25, so a 2-year term. 2,000 legal costs we already talked about. Initial investment we talked about. The option consideration is 80,000. Mortgage principal and payments, that's the pay down over the 2-year, 24-month period. We see 38,997 total profit from the sale transfer. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, well, you don't, looks like, okay, so we have here the mortgage payment, and here we have first mortgage. So this here, is this what this person's going to pay you? Is that what you're saying here? I don't see the rest of the numbers. That's okay. 850. Okay, home can be sold for 700, GST included. 344 is the tenant buyer payment. Okay, so they're going to give us 344. 300. Sorry, the payment is 2360 mortgage payment. I see that. Okay, this is this 34. That's the monthly agreed amount. Is that right? So 3,500. Is that right? Okay. So they're going to pay us 3,500, 3,446, 100. The 16 is funny on the we like to use those specific numbers too. But on the mortgage payment, so sorry, the rent. So the rent that's going to be paid is 3,446.16, less the mortgage payment of 2,360. Interest rate is you got here. Interest rate is 4.95. I'll come back to that in a second. So the cash flow per month you're looking at is 1,085.77, right? That's what you're saying. I'm going to make $1,000 basically cash flow per month on the spread of these two things. I just want to go back up. Where was this? You said the interest rate is 4.95. Is that right for the first mortgage? Is that what you mean? You pay. He pays. Okay. I think this is one of the complications of the deal. Sort of like this looks like sort of like a wrap. Is that what this is, Dave? It's like a wrap? A wraparound mortgage? I'm creating first month for him. I'm creating a first month for him. I'm creating a first month for him. Is that what that says? Oh, mortgage. I see. I see. So you're creating the first mortgage for him. I see. Okay. So, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay, okay. So the approach here is that the person wants to purchase the property. They can't purchase the property. It's structured in a rent to own. You're getting the mortgage. You're paying 3.65. He's willing to pay the spread of a 1.35 in the mortgage, giving him the time over the 2 years to purchase the property. Is that correct? Is that pretty much it? Okay. And so I sell the home for 700,000 less 80K down, balance of the mortgage at 495 interest rate. So you will be okay. So this individual, Dave. So I sell the home for 700,000 less 80 down, balance of mortgage is at 495 rate. So Dave, after the purchase, after he takes ownership, you're still going to hold a position in the property for the mortgage. Is that right? Okay. So you know what, Dave, this one, it's 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 really not. It's really. I see what you're saying. So I think we're going to create more confusion, Dave, with this deal as a rent to own. Then I understand the structure that you're doing. I think it's good. It's great actually. The return is great and it's a great deal. The challenge or the dilemma is that for someone who's new to this, that might be a confusing concept of what's happening here. So what we'll do, Dave, if you want, yeah, Dave, if you want, we can have a chat about this offline, and we can talk about any questions about it because I think that working off this sheet and the type of deal that you're doing might create more confusion. Yeah, no worries, no worries. Let's do that. So folks, what we're going to do is we're going to walk away from this deal. We'll get an update from Dave after I talk to him. I'm sure we can talk about it on our next call and figure out the best way to explain what's happening here and the profitability. This is very profitable, obviously, and it can be something that we can structure to make some money. Yeah, that's right. I totally see that, Dave. Yeah, for sure. I'm sure a few people on the call totally understand what they're seeing here and understand what we're doing. I just don't want to. I just don't want to get too confusing. If I can put this together with, I will need a JV partner. Okay, so Dave, for the JV partner, what are you looking for from the JV partner in the way of capital? So JV partner, just so I understand the concept, Dave, is going to be about. Are you offering finance partner? Okay, so you want them to put up all the capital? Is that right, Dave? Okay. So the capital is going to be $38,000. Is that what we're talking about? Hold the mortgage if necessary. Okay. So hold the mortgage, put up, 40 grand. Okay, put up 40 grand, get the mortgage. So let's assume that the JV partner is going to put up the mortgage, put up the 40 grand, and the idea, Dave, is what? To split the capital at the end of the deal. Is that right? Okay. So to give you an idea, folks, of what you would get as a JV partner, okay? So if we put up, and let's say this with let's just put up 40,000, okay? So you put up 40,000, okay? You're going to get half of this, okay? Divide by 2. And your return on investment is going to be this divided by this. So your return on investment is going to be 33%, looks like. Okay, so let's just change that right there. So your return is 33% in 2 years. That's a really good return. The other thing is that you're going to get, looks like, the payout, because that's not the whole payout. Well, it is, because they're not really. You're not making the spread, are you, Dave? What do you get? You're not getting any of that spread, are you? Just to let everyone know, this tenant buyer does not want to show his financials. Sorry, what's that? The spread on this, the 150,000, that's not yours. You're not getting any of that, right? Yes, you're not, or yes, you are. You're getting the spread of 150 plus this spread right here. Is that right? Not good if you can't provide any proof of income. We'll deal with that in a second. So Dave, you're getting the 150 plus the $1,000 spread. Is that what you're telling me? Because of the wrap? Only, yeah. It doesn't even matter if he defaults, folks. Just let's not get ahead. Just give me 1 sec, please. It's okay. These are great questions. We'll talk about them. Pre-sold for 700, GST included. Okay. So Dave, are we getting 150 here, right, for the spread? Okay. Plus, because of the wrap, the 1,000. Is that what you're showing me here? Well, Dave, that's that's really good, because I mean, if it's 150 and we're going to use the 80 grand ahead of time, then we're going to make this money plus the 80 grand. Sorry, plus the 150. That's pretty good. Is that right, Dave? Am I missing something? So, Dave, you're going to bring in 176,000 from this property. Well, I mean, if he puts up the capital, Dave, I mean, and you structure the contract properly, he's the one at risk. I mean, he could lose his 80 grand if he doesn't push forward, right? Well, Dave, this is what I want everybody to know, okay? First of all, we're always going to use lawyers, and we're always going to ask the other party to use a lawyer to protect themselves. Now, we're going to do everything on our end to protect the individual, but ultimately that's up to them. What we need to be responsible for, Dave, is making sure that when we write up this contract and we do the legal on it, that we're protected. This is very, very important. Worst case scenario has to be considered. So am I reading that right, Dave? We're going to make 150 plus the 26,000. Is that right, Dave? Okay, so the real return on this, half of the return is 253%. Yeah, it's more, actually 500% if you just did the deal yourself. You're willing to share the wealth on that, which is awesome. So you're asking someone to put up $40,000 plus getting the mortgage. Is that right, Dave? That's the deal here? Perhaps the contract is taking a smaller profit on the new house to get it off his inventory. Not possible. It's hard to say what the motivation is. I just don't want to be financially responsible for the top end mortgage. I'd be all in if I do it myself. You'd be all in. Exposure wise, you mean, Dave? Is that what you mean? Yeah, but Dave, and that's okay. I'd rather you share the deal because it's an excellent deal. There's lots of opportunity. It's not your money that you're putting up. For the investor, this is a ridiculous return. I think though that the safety is going to be how this deal is structured on paper with the contracts and agreements. But even if he doesn't move forward, Dave, you're basically still holding a property that's deep in the money, and you got the 80 grand, right? So, and there's going to be a lease attached to this, so it's not like you can't evict him if he stops paying rent. So, in profit from sales selection, the initial investment should be 38K, not 116, correct? Oh, right here. Where did you see? No, the down payment, let's see, this should be 20% of that. Is that what you're talking about? Equals this times, double check. Oops. 92.8, that's right. The down payment should be 20%, that's 92.8. On this, oh, did I go too far? Let me see. F, did I go? No, that's the purchase price, 580. So 580, just so everybody sees this, equals 580 times 20% gives us 116. So it is 116. I went to the wrong one. So it's 116, which is the same thing. That's right. The same thing as taking, because already it's been established, the first mortgage 80% is right here. Well, so if we go equals this times 80%, that'll make up the difference. So it was right. Yeah, it was right. Okay, 464. Okay. Down here, where are we looking at? 116. Am I missing it? Where are you looking at, Tim? $439. Interest only. That's not in there. 2,000. Initial investment 16. Initial lease option. Not 116. Oh, I see. I gotcha. Nice catch. Yeah. The investment is well, I mean the 116 is not the investment. Well, it is an investment in the not for you, but what's invested in the property difference. The reason is because it's the difference between that and the actual mortgage held, right? So you're not investing 116. 116 is the capital that's covered in the investment of the property. The initial option consideration of 80,000. Really, you're investing the 40,000, and that's where total profit from sale and transfer. Here it says 40,000, but your total profit from sale and transfer is not 40,000. It's much higher. It's right there. Mortgage payments, less mortgage. No, actually, it's more than that. Less first mortgage payment is 56,000. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Let's do this. This is what we do know. I've simplified it here, anyways. The difference is 150 from here to here is 150. Everybody sees that, right? So 150,000 is the spread. So if we sell it for 730 and we buy it for 580, that's 150. This is the spread that's been agreed upon, so we know that's 1,000 in here. This meat in between, we're going to leave alone right now for clarity reasons. Dave, we're going to talk about this. Oh, sold for 700. I see. Okay, that helps. So you didn't sell for 730. You sold it for 700. Right there. That's it. I gotcha. Okay. I gotcha. You took the 150 minus 160, non-refundable, plus the difference on the pay. Okay, we're gonna leave this one alone. We'll talk about this, Dave, because it's not set up for exactly like a rent-to-own, the conventional rent-to-own would use. Okay, so Dave is looking for a co-investor. Let's say I want the price, piece of the action. I have 10K to invest. What part of the monthly mortgage payment would I get at the end? So Charles, something like that, this particular property, if he starts bringing in multiple investors, which you could do, Alberta's pretty. You'd have to follow the rules and regulations of the province. I should say, I keep it there. But that would be like a syndication, bringing in other investors in there. It could be, could be something. But if you were putting up 10 grand, if we're just this is simplified. We'd have to break these numbers down. But let's just say, for every 10 grand you put up, you'd make 15 grand. Looks like. Let's see. So if I do, so you just have to do this. If anybody wants to know, you got 10,000. You put up 10,000 equals this times, your return. So you walk away with 15,000. That's the end value. The return on investment would be this. The actual cash value, my apologies, would be this. So 15,000 is what you'd make. So that's a pretty good deal, Dave. That's a pretty good deal. Okay, so if anybody's, it's over 2 years, yeah, for sure. But that's still, it's monthly would be you'd make $200, around $200 a month. But your end amount would be 15,000. If you were just the investor, one investor, you'd make $500 a month, $500 a month, and you'd make like 75,000 at the end of the deal. It really, that's what it is. I'll tell you, looking at this deal, it needs to be structured, and obviously both parties need to be protected. This is a cash cow. If structured properly, this is a home run. It just has to be done right and make sure that you can pull it all off and you're doing it legally and properly and transparent. This is you're not going to see a lot of these deals kind of come your way on their own. So this is something really, really nice. So why don't we do this? So Dave, I don't know, Dave, if you want to. I guess it's not bad. We'll wait to the end of the call. How about this? We wait to the end of the call. Anybody interested in this deal? Couple stipulations. Dave, you're looking for someone that can put up the whole 40. Is that right? Yeah, okay. We can do that, Dave. We can wait. So that 15K is after I get my 10K back included in it? No, you make 15K, Charles. Do we need to qualify for the mortgage or just capital? Let's get the ducks in a row. Okay, so yeah, why don't we do that right now? Dave initially was looking for someone to qualify for the mortgage and put up the dough. At that rate, if you can get the mortgage, folks, and in this situation, say there was a similar deal you were looking at. If it was a similar deal, you could get the mortgage. You could borrow the 40,000 and still make a killing. That's how good this deal is. At least, at first look. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to walk away from this deal. Dave, the reason, Dave, I think it might be not a terrible idea. How quickly are we talking for time frame, Dave? You need to get back to him in pretty quick. Okay, Dave, why don't we set up talk? Why don't we do that tomorrow, all right? Just reach out to me and we'll set something up. Okay. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna walk away from this. The reason, Dave, I was gonna say we might get some people that are interested to send you an email today is because, folks, next week is March break. I think we're gonna take the week off if that's okay with everybody. Let's take the week off. Next week it's March break in Ontario at least, and I'm gonna do some stuff with the family. So we're going to take the week off. Obviously, I'll still be available for help if you need it. You can email me, reach out to me if you need assistance. But I think that's what we'll do is we'll move to the following week and pick it up there. So Dave, the reason I was thinking that it was a good idea maybe to get some names now, Dave, just in case, because we're not going to really represent the following week. If you think we can wait, that's fine. Okay, totally up to you. Yeah, I don't think it would be tough either. Okay, so let's do this. Dave, let's hold off on this until we come back and not next week, the following week, and then we can go from there. Sam, can you remind me about the lawyer and accountant in Alberta? So yeah, I'll give you that too today. They will need to qualify for the purchase price. Yes, of course. David, 580 GST included. Yep, that's right. The purchase price, right? Purchase price or value for an institution is going to be the lower of the two, so 580 is what they're going to have to qualify for. Just so everybody knows. Okay. All right, we'll move away from this one, but that's definitely something to keep in mind. Okay. Let's hold our questions for this, folks, because really we're not clear on all these numbers. But it definitely looks like a home run, Dave. So let's work to make this one work for you, and hopefully an investor. That would be wonderful too. If an investor could get involved with you on this deal, that would be just wonderful. Okay. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to stop this for a second, and I'm going to bring up another deal. So hold on, give me 1 second. And it looks like, okay, so I'm going to move fast through these deals because I want to get as many as I can in. So I'm going to, let me see. Let's go with, they should be here. Let's see. 1 second. Okay. So this is from Roger. Roger, you sent me a deal. We're going to look at that deal, okay? You ready to do it? Roger, you with me? Okay. Give me 1 second. I'll bring this up. So anybody who has any questions, let me go through this and then we'll answer questions on this deal, okay? All right. So let's share my screen again. Okay. Okay. No worries. Okay. So okay, here we go. We have a property. Okay, let's do this. So first question, is this property under contract? Roger, is this property under contract? No, okay, give me 1 second then. Give me 1 sec. Okay. Okay, do you have any markers on this about address or anything like that, Dave? Or sorry, Roger, do you? Under contract, okay, good. Under contract means that you've put an offer and it's been accepted. That's what it means. And the reason that you do that is because if you think you have an opportunity, you get it under contract, so basically you can maintain control of the property while you do the vetting process. So something you want to do sooner than later. If you think you have an opportunity, go after it. I mean, the worst case scenario, the deal doesn't go through. Sooner is better when you think you got an opportunity for sure. Okay, can everybody see that? We good? All right, let me see. Okay, so we have a property that's 239.7. Purchase price is the same, 239.7. Monthly gross rent is 1,600. ARV is the same. Okay, so we look here. Gross revenue is 19,200. Vacancy, maintenance, property management. Good, we're keeping that same. Now, exact expense here, the 2,284. That number, have we confirmed that number? Do we know what the exact expenses are? No worries. Because it looks like, yeah, you just put them in there. Okay, we'll just adding them up. Is that what you're doing? No big deal, though. Is that what you're doing, Roger? You adding them up? Yeah? Okay. Okay. We're going to get the exact expenses. Kind of important. Obviously, we want this to be as accurate as possible, and to ensure, the success of the deal. Gross rent multiplier currently at this rate, I don't think that's going to stay there. Might be a little bit higher than that. Might be the same. I don't know. We'll find out. Gross rent multiplier is 12. Cap rate's 5.5. Our value is 130. You can see that the property is about 100,000, just under 100,000 over value for us. Cash flow per unit, if I paid cash, is $1,089. The cap rate would be representing the return on the investment, so that's where the 1,089. So if I take away my expenses, that's what I'm going to get for the year, just divided by 12. Okay. Exact expenses is per month, correct? No, actually it's per year. This is all per year stuff because the gross rent we're looking at is per year. So we want the per year. So just multiply it by 12 and you're good to go. In this area, obviously, that's your per month is your cash flow. That's what we're getting at the end for the cash flow. But when you're running these numbers, you need per year. You need per year. Does that make sense? No worries. Good question. Good question. All right, so and add another 1,000 for exact expenses. So this is 3,000. Okay. All right. Okay, so we see that the 3,000, now that this is 3,000, you saw the gross rent multiplier didn't move because the gross rent multiplier doesn't care about this box. It doesn't care. It's just looking at gross rents versus asking price or purchase price. But when we put that number in, it affected the cap rate dropped, from 5.5, I believe it was, to 5. And your cash flow per unit, cash flow per unit for the year, it dropped because the property, we took a little bit of money away from the exact expense because it went up. Okay, so when we go up here, we see that the bank is going to put up 80%, 191. Seller financing. Are we looking at an investor, or are we looking at the seller to give us that money? Who are we looking at, Roger? Do we have an investor or a seller? Okay, the seller. Okay, so the seller's going to put up 10%. We're going to put up 10%. Now, right here, Roger, when you look at this, there's no interest rate here. Okay, there's no interest rate. It's showing a fee because it's just extrapolating this over 30 years. But we'd have to put in an amount. So let's put in, just start with a 10. Doesn't mean it's going to be a 10, but let's say it's a 10. So if it's a 10, we come down here and we see, the mortgage payment's 1,065, and we see a negative cash flow and a negative return on investment. The reason is because this cap rate is right at the edge. It's really low. I don't say it's really low. It is what it is. It's 5. And that's really given us a tough time to make this property profit. So if we look at the other option, there's a way we can relieve some of the pressure, but not one that we really want to do. If we go 20 and 0, okay, and we have no other financing, we can bring that up, but look at this is the problem. Your cash on cash return is 3.7. That's not good either. Okay, that's not good either. So just to remind everybody, the three things as a rule that we want to have on a deal is what? What are the three things? We want 10% or less out of pocket. We want 75 a unit, and we want at least 10% here. And if anybody who has a sheet, please change that to 10. So obviously the higher the better, but 10 is what we're looking for. So 10 in, 10 out for return, and 75 for cash flow. That's what we're looking for. Those are the three things. Yeah, and I think most of us understand why we want those parameters. We could talk about that on another call. I just want to get through these couple deals. This particular property is really reflective of what is the problem with single family homes, right? Single family homes. There's just not enough money in the deal to make it work. So what could we do with this property to make it work? Well, the first thing that should jump out on us is it's a single unit, right? Single unit. So single units pose the highest risk for vacancy versus occupancy because it's either 100% or zero. So that's our first challenge right there is that it's a single unit. So we want to address that definitely. So to do that, the easiest way to make this deal work is to simply turn this into a rent-to-own, okay? So I'm simplifying this, but this is basically what we're looking at. So if we can change this to a rent-to-own, then what we can do is we can change, the percentage. That's because it's over here. The key expenses, these key expenses would be 0, 0, and 0, okay? And then we go over to here, and we see that there's no longer vacancy maintenance and property management. And when we do that, actually I found out 4 renters. Tenant buyers, is that what you mean, Roger? 4 renters for the bedrooms? You're setting it like a rooming house? Is that what you're looking at? Rooming house. So, which is going to hedge for sure your risk. That's great, Roger. It's going to hedge your risk because, you don't have to have every room in there filled to make money. The dilemma is your gross rent is still $1,600. Is that right? Because that rent's pretty. I mean, that's tough, right? Because it's only bringing you in $1,600. So we need to get that rent up. And the other thing is, if rooming houses typically are going to have a higher maintenance cost than the typical 5%. 400 to 500. Okay. So I think that if we go back here and we put say 5%, which I understand we can accept now, or we can look at because it's 4 people. The maintenance on this though, I'd like to be safe. I'd double it to 10 because it's a rooming house, and management's 10. Okay. So if we go back to, do you see that, Roger? So we're going to go 10, 10, and 5, right? Because the maintenance on a rooming house is going to be greater. It's going to be greater. Yeah, you get that. Okay, good. All right, so now we have with this is 4,800, and the property is it's further strained with us putting 20% in. And just to be fair, if you're going to sell doors 4 units, you're going to say here is 4 units. Okay, you're going to say that it's 4 units, right? But it's 4 rooms. But if you come back here, you're going to see that your cash flow per door is $16, and your cash on cash return is 1.7 because you're putting 20% down. Unfortunately, if you put any money in this property, if you borrow any more, it's going to turn this into negative because it's right on the edge. Does everybody see that? So. June, the other expenses here, these are just numbers. We actually put the number in. But these numbers, this is your expenses. These are other expenses that you have, taxes, insurance, water, sewage, electricity. You put these in here, and it'll actually, it should jump over here to expenses. Exact expenses. That'll tell you what the exact expenses are. So if you don't have the sheet, anybody, I'm going to hold on to it because I want to update this. There's a couple. I just made some modifications to it. I just want to make sure the math's right. There's a glitch in it I already know of that I got to fix, but it's not affecting what we're doing here. Okay. Okay. So a lot of lenders usually don't like lending rooming houses, from my experience. Yeah, that's true. There's there are people out there though for sure that'll do it if there's money to be made. It's done right. Rent hasn't been raised in a while. Increased risks, have to raise the rent a bit. What does the market in the area charge? That's the question. What's the most you're going to get, Charles, for those rooms, right? Because you got to deal with the market, what the market's going to give. So I think that two things I want to say, Charles. I'm glad you brought the deal forward. I'm glad we're looking at and analyzing it. But I'll tell you, Charles, unless there's only a couple of areas that you can make this work better. Obviously reduce cost. Okay, reduce cost. Another way is to increase rent. So even if we brought this up to 2,000, let's bring it up to 2,000, which is basically $100 more per unit. You're asking for each room to pay $500 instead of $400 as an average. Even let's do that. Okay, expenses. I don't want to reduce this because I'm telling you, those rooming houses. There's 4 people and they're living in the rooms basically. In the common area, it's strained. Exact expense. Those additional expenses with taxes and other things. They pay all the utilities. Yep, they pay all the bills typically. Okay, and then we have net operating income 14,000. We get the gross rent multiplier down to 999. Cap rate 6.1. So we improved it. We did improve it, but here, look, you're going to put the 20% down because we can't finance it, with any money. Now, it's starting to work because we increased that $400. Everybody see that? So if we could get 500 on this, because I wouldn't attack the rent, the expenses. I'd lean the other way. We can make the property work. Here's your challenge. It's just slightly under, so I'd probably I want to check something here. You know what I would do, actually, with a property like this? Okay, if you can get the rent for it. Then Charles, and it's a rooming house, and it meets code, I would do this. I would split this with somebody as an investor. And what I would do is I'd put up 10%, they put up 10%, or actually, they could put up the whole 20%, because you got the deal, right? And you split the cash flow, and you split the money at the end of the deal, okay? So for the investor, you're asking them to put up 50 grand in the mortgage, and you'd be willing to split that's times 4, right? So cash flow wise would equal this times 4 divided by 2. Okay, so 183 bucks. That's what the investor would get. That's what they would get per month. If we take this 24 months, equals this times 24. It's 4,416. Plus, if we take the rate of appreciation of say we sell it in 3 years, so let's do this 0. They would get half of 37, so equals this divided by 2, 18. We sum that here. They get at the end of 3 years here. Their initial investment was that. So we go equals. I need to add this to the sheet, so it just does this automatically for us. And then we have ROI. This divided by this. So we're looking at 48% return over 3 years, roughly. 49%. Okay. So here, let's see. Refrigerator to the room, but a common area kitchen. Did that in Calgary in 2005 for $300 for my room. Okay. Are you talking about the rents? You're talking about trying to figure out the rent. Best way to do that, Charles? Yeah. 2 ways to do that. Obviously, you can ask rent you paid. Well, you can ask you can ask a realtor. Property manager would be more accurate, and there are, you know, for rooming houses, you know, the easiest thing to do really is to do a search for rents in the area for rooming house, and then you'll find out what the market is where it's at right now. You know, that's what you can do, the easiest way, and probably I would say most accurate way. Okay, what's the difference between the cash flow on line 21 and the cash flow on line 24? Okay, so this one here is if I paid cash for the property. If you paid cash for the property, that's what this cash flow is. Everybody see that? So this is if I paid cash for this property, I get 306 per unit, 4 units. You know, and my return on investment would be 6.1. Does everybody see that? I changed this because I wanted it to reflect if you paid cash, because this is what really this area is, right? So if I paid cash, I'd get 6.1% return, and I would get 306 per unit. Does that make sense? Okay, now if we bring in an investor, they put up the money. The investor's looking at over a 3-year period of 49% return. That's pretty good. Why is, if the 91 is a split, why is the investor accepting less than 75 a door? Why is the investor expecting 75 a door? I don't know what you mean. If the 91 is a split, it is splitting 91. Why the investor will accept 75 on the door? So yep, line 25, I got you. Yep, it says $91. That's right. It's times 4. Yep, that's right. You're absolutely right, Rod. Frank knows that. Frank knows it's times 4. If the split to the investor, he will get half of it. That's right. So he'll get about 40, 45, 46 bucks a unit. That's right, Frank. Our goal is 75. But Frank, I want everyone to understand this. Okay? I want everybody. No, Frank. It's not the same for him either, because he's